What's up, everybody? Back for another Starro video. In this video, we're going to go over the best teams for Herta, the best relics, and the best light cones to use for, obviously, the Herta, right? Not Herta, the Herta. Yes. Herta is going to be one of the characters that is going to be rerunning in the first half of 3.3, right? And she's a rather, one, popular character, two, strong character, and three, I guess sought after just because of the first two, right? If you didn't get her on her first banner, now is the perfect time to get her on her second banner because she's only 3 patches old for some reason. They really wanted to rerun her. If you're a Sunday fan, hey, I don't have his light cone. I feel you, bro. I don't like. He asked me next, right? Surely, with how like quickly they're like. Imagine if Tribby rerun before Sunday, right? But regardless, let's go over the Herta. So first things first, we're going to talk about relics because obviously you probably pulled Herta if you're watching this video or you're planning to pull Herta, right? And the first thing first is relics, right? It doesn't matter who you have on your team, doesn't matter what light cones you have, relics are a thing you can always get no matter who you are, right? Obviously, roles are going to differ depending on how lucky you are, but they're very important. Now, there is really only one relic set and one planet ornament set you really should be running on Herta, right? Because in Herta's passive, you have to run her with erudition characters to get the full benefit from her stacking and all of her like crit damage to everybody, all that stuff. You have to run one erudition character, right? So for her set, this is what I run, right? The two-piece planner is very important because it increases her attack by 12%, and then when you enter battle with someone who is the same path, you will always have this because you're always running her with an erudition character, you get 12 free crit rate, right? This not only boosts your chance of critting, but also just your damage in general because it gives an attack, right? Then we're going to run the Scholar set because it is quite literally meant for her. It's literally called Scholar, Lost in Erudition. She is literally a Scholar that's an Erudition character. Like how more vague can you, increase your crit rate by 8%, meaning you just get a flat out 20% crit rate from running these two sets. And then your 4-piece increases your damage dealt by skill and ultimate by 20%. And then when you use your ultimate, your damage with your next skill increases by 25%. This is good because when you ult with Herta, you action advance yourself and then get her enhanced skill. Like I said, this is literally made for her, right? Now, in terms of what roles you want, it's going to depend on a few things like teams and whatnot. Like, you can run slower speed Herta if you're running her with like Sunday to action advancer. This is what I run. I have 135 speed, and then I have 63 crit rate and 186 crit damage outside of battle. These are my rolls. Nothing too crazy. I say that as I have 2 and crit rate and 2 crit damage, right? Pretty much just want to go. This one could definitely be better. You know, I'm still. You can see how much I'm farming it, right? Nothing too crazy on mine, and mine does absolutely great. She clears through pretty much all the end game content. To be fair, it still shields her quite a bit. This is what I have my Herta, and I have no problem clearing the end game. I think the hardest one was the Flame Reaver, just because he was kind of annoying, right? But I mean, she still goes through it. I say it was annoying, but it just took like one more cycle than I thought it would. And it was easily, I think it was like a 4 cycle or something like that, or a 3 cycle. Still an incredibly strong character, even if you are a new player. I have her on my free to play, and she's very strong, even without her light cone. Very good character. Now let's hop over to what light cones you can expect to run on the Herta. Also, thank you for being extremely loud in my ear. Anyway, in terms of light cones, right? So let's start out at 3 stars. 3-star light cones, you're probably not going to be using any of these, right? 4-star light cones, the Genius Repose one is very good if you're running her in pure fiction. Otherwise, defeating an enemy can, be a little annoying, especially if you're on some of the MOCs that only have like one boss, like Pollux, right? Obviously, it's going to be a little hard to defeat Pollux when he's the only enemy, right? So you have to keep that in mind. Otherwise, this light cone is still extremely good. This one is probably going to be your best overall, like, base, normal. You're just going to run it in every content. But it is a battle pass light cone, and if you're looking for a light cone to not run in pure fiction, right, so won't run this, and you don't buy the battle pass, it's pretty much just going to be the seriousness of breakfast, which is unfortunate because it's not like the most amazing light cone, but it, gives you damage and it gives you attack, so, it could be worse. It could be worse, right? Most of the other light cones really just aren't for her. Like this one is like, This one you have to have different weaknesses. This one's follow-up base. This one's just ult, which she does do damage on her ult, but most of her damage comes from her enhanced skill. And this one's break effect, so it's like, you know, what can you do, right? However, 5-star light cone options, she actually has quite a bit. Obviously, her best light cone is going to be her own because it increases her crit rate by even more, right? And then also increases damage up with her skill and ultimate, right? Which is pretty much everything covered. It even gives her a skill point after she ults, which makes it to where every time you ult, you will always be able to use your enhanced skill. Obviously, pretty much tailor made for her. Otherwise, your best bets are going to be, you can run Himiko's Light Cone, right? If you're doing a pure fiction run, you can run Jing Yun's Light Cone because it not only increases your crit damage, but increases your skill and ultimate damage. Obviously, you're not going to be gaining anything from the follow-up attack one unless you have like a Kuro or whatever that makes your ultimate a follow-up or whatever in like simulated universe. But normal content, you're pretty much just rocking it for the increased crit damage and the skill and ultimate damage. Which, I mean, hey, that's pretty much Herta's whole thing, is ulting and using your skill, right? Argenti's also is pretty solid because it also gives you crit damage, and then when you do more damage on your ultimate, which, I mean, it's like okay, right? Herta's ultimate isn't going to be doing the most insane damage, but it's still damage nonetheless, so boosting it will help you out. But I definitely would you have to use Jing Yun's Light Cone over Argenti's. Obviously, though, Herta's going to be the best. And then there's also the free-to-play Light Cone, which wants to have a lot of enemies on the field and can increase speed, right? If you don't have anything else, you can definitely just use this, right? But do keep in mind, it's going to have a better effect if you are fighting more enemies, which is pretty much just mostly pure fiction, because MOC, well, some MOCs have more enemies, like the banana boss, like the troop with the whole T-Rex, TVs, all that stuff, but getting an enemy like Pollux will pretty much hit this Lycone super hard, so do keep that in mind. Her Lycone options aren't the most insane compared to other characters, right? Like someone like Anoxa, who just has a straight up 4-star Lycone made for him, or other paths that have just way better Lycones, right? But she does have some options, right? So it's not all doom and gloom. Now comes the team. So you have Herta, you got a decent set on her, right? Whatever it may be. And you got your Lycone. Now you're wondering what teams you should use. Now, Herta always needs an Erudition character with her. If you don't run it, it's kind of like running Akron with no Nihility. What are you doing, right? Now, the best option by far is Anoxa, right? However, Anoxa just released, so if you pulled Anoxa, you might not have the currency for Herta. Or if you want the Herta, you probably skip the Noxa to get the Herta, or, you know, whatever it may be. So not everyone's going to have a Noxa. Other options are Jade and Argenti. These are two other premium options that are pretty good. Obviously, the premium characters are going to be better than the 4 stars, right? But these do work as well. Now, if you have none of these and you're looking for more free-to-play option, Mini Herta and Serval are still very good. Where is Mini Herta? Am I blind? I didn't look for Mini Herta. Other shoes. Mini Herta is really good in like pure fiction, right? They're pretty much every time I go to pure fiction, I drop Serval for Herta and just run the duo Hertas and go crazy. Every time Herta does an ultimate or skill, Mini Herta procs, goes crazy, gives her energy, and she's good to go. Now, Serval is the one I use most of the time. I use Battery Serval with Passkey and pretty much just spam ultimate over and over to give her the stacks, give her the energy, and just do like a little bit of damage. Not an insane amount of damage, right? Because I am running Serval on the win set, so she's pretty much getting no help besides whatever stats that she happens to get from either a light cone or whatever substats I have on the relics, because most of it is just speed, right? But she can do like a little bit of damage, especially paired with someone like if you have E1 Tribby or like Robin on the team, right? She can do some damage. So instantly, whatever Erudition character fits your needs. If you want to run Argenti and do the same like Battery Argenti, if you want to run Jade because you like Jade, if you want to run Anoxa because you just got him, whatever it may be, your first slot on the team will always be another Erudition character, right? Now, on to the second slot, which is probably going to be a sustain. The best sustain is easily Ho-Ho because one, it is helping you get energy to ult with Herta because you always have to ult to get your big skill. It is also giving Herta attack. It is also being able to cleanse and heal. Obviously, it's the main, draw of a sustain. And it is also helping with Argenti and Serval getting their ults as well. Obviously, Jade and Anaxa can also benefit. Same with Mini Herta from getting their ultimate. But running a battery build for Serval Argenti, Ho is definitely going to make a lot of use of that with giving them more energy, right? You can run other stuff like Aventurine does work with like the whole shields and whatnot. You could probably run Hycean as well. You can probably run Gallagher, right? But by far the most beneficial to the team will be Ho, right? So we're just gonna leave her there on the team. Now, last but not least, you're probably thinking of a support, right? Now, you can run quite a bit of supports with Herta. The main one that a lot of people are going to be using is going to be Tribby, if I can actually find her on the list. Starts with a T. If she's around here somewhere, boom, Tribby, right? Mostly because Tribby can attack when you ult, which will, give you energy. Tribby can also do a decent amount of damage, especially E1 Tribby. E1 Tribute is very good. Will also help out Serval's damage because Serval's damage is going to be a bit low. Same with if you're using Battery Argenti. If you're even if you're using Anaxa and you're not using like a battery character, it'll just boost their damage overall because Tribute is just team-wide damage buff. Plus, Tribby has good synergy with Ho because once everyone uses their ult, you're going to want to ult with Tribby yet again so you can get more damage off when you ult. And there's just a lot of synergy happening there, right? You can also get a lot of synergy with a character such as Robin. As I look for this on the list, I wish these were sorted in like release order like I'm used to. Anyway, Robin is also very good because Ho is giving her attack and is also giving her energy, so she's always able to ult. The ult gives you an action advance, so you can use more skills with Herta, which will do a little bit of damage, but will also give her a lot of energy because obviously she's using her own skill. You get a good amount of energy when your character is actually the one attacking, right? And then, Ho can use a skill to get more energy. It's pretty much like action advance, you guys know, it's good, right? Plus, Robin is also boosting team-wide damage yet again, so a character who has low damage as Serval can also very much benefit from Robin. Now, a more free-to-play option that does work is Ruan Mei. It's not going to be the most crazy thing on the planet, right? Ruan Mei does give speed, which will help with, the DPS and sub-DPS of the team. The break effect stuff is like whatever. Break efficiency, I guess, can be useful if you don't want to get hit as much. If your team's a bit more squishy. If you have E1 Ruin Might, it's definitely going to be a bit better. I know a lot of people have suddenly found themselves with an E1 Robin thanks to Anniversary, right? That'll be very helpful as well. But it really just has a lot of characters they can use. RMC is also a good option with the Action Advance, True Damage. Same with Sunday. Action Advance. Like Action Advance is very strong for Herta because it lets you get more energy, more stacks, and it's just overall really, really good. Plus, Sunday can also give energy. RMC gives true damage for just more damage overall. Herta pretty much can run like any support, right? Even running Sparkle, right? Which is crazy, but Sparkle also helps because if you don't have a light cone, skill points can be a bit of an issue if you're finding yourself ulting quite a bit. So realistically, Herta can kind of use every single support in the game. Obviously, someone like Hanya isn't going to get you any, bonus points, but the main supports that everyone uses, Herta can use just fine. Obviously, characters like Ramen and Tribute are going to be the best because they just have so much more synergy with the team, especially with someone like Woho on the team. But she really just can use any support. So pretty much it comes down to have your one support on the team, have your Erudition character, and then make sure you have a decent sustain. And Herta pretty much just functions, right? She's just that good of a character. It's not like someone like Aglia who it's like, oh, you don't have Sunday. Performance is going to die down quite a bit. Now, obviously, if you're going to run something like, Anaxa, Tribby, right? If you're running this team, right, and then you switch it up and your team starts to look something like this, Serval, will run like, what? Where's Ron Man? Right here. Obviously, the difference between this team and the last team with like Anaxa, Tribby, the damage is going to be a bit different, right? But the team still works overall for what you want, especially with Gallagher action advancing, attacking, right, and getting more stacks and whatnot. The team just works, right? Obviously, like I said, there's going to be a bit of a damage difference, but it still works overall, and it's not going to completely kill the character's kit to run these other characters. Now, that's pretty much going to be it for the video. We went over light cones. She's got decent options. Team building wise, she has tons of options. And then relics, well, anyone can farm it, and it's pretty much tailor-made for Herta, so it makes it a lot less confusing. I feel like a lot of people hopefully could figure out that that was her set based off just reading it for 2 seconds, but if not, no problem there. Sometimes the sets can be a little confusing in Sorrow. But other than that, that'll be it for the video. Let me know in the comments if you're summoning for Herta, if you're building your Herta finally, if you're finally getting, her light cone, whatever it may be, let me know. And I will catch y'all in the next video. Thanks for watching.